What's up, Cowboy Nation? Really appreciate you all for tuning in. We're going to talk a little bit about the Dallas Cowboys and where we stand as it relates to heading into the bye week and the things that really stood out to us. Last year, this offense was at a standstill as it relates to putting money on the board. We know that we didn't have a lot of scores in those factors. Also, with this offense, we didn't push the needle. There was a lot of ambiguity with the offense. But this year's a whole lot different. We got Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator, and we're making adjustments. Dak Prescott is going through his progressions faster. He's going through his reads and stepping up through his throws, and he's attempting to throw the ball deeper down the field. And he's like top in the NFL in those categories. I think number 3 overall in passing as it relates to quarterback. And trust me, that is a great task for Dak Prescott to be in, especially in his offense. This is a run-first offense. So we're looking at the new wrinkles that Kellen Moore is able to install in this particular team, as well as Amari Cooper. Looking at this chart right here, Patrick Mahomes, he's number 1 in the quarterback room, and Matt Ryan is number 2, and right in third place is Dak Prescott, looking at this chart with 2,123 yards. And we already know that Pat Mahomes, heading into this season, we already had our reservations on Pat Mahomes as it relates to him being on the Madden cover. The Madden curse is real. I don't know why people still signs up to be on that curse. I tell you what, can somebody just put Roger Goodell on the Madden cover? Maybe, just maybe. I'm not wishing injury on him, but maybe he would change his mind on a lot of things, right? But neither here nor there. Matt Ryan is the 2nd overall quarterback, and a lot of times his numbers are obscured in a way because they've been getting blown out left and right. They've been playing behind, and all they do is throw the ball down the field, throw the ball here, throw the ball there. So that's why he's pretty much way up there. And Dak Prescott, our guy, is in 3rd with, like I said, 2,123 yards. And on this list, as far as rushing, we got to talk about this. Dalvin Cook. I remember coming out of the draft, I was like, man, we had an opportunity to get Dalvin Cook. It would have been crazy for us to have him because it was going to be like 2017 year. I think that's when he came out. I think I had some film sessions out there of Dalvin Cook, if it's still out there, of me saying that, hey, this is the guy we need to go get, have a 1-2 combination, especially because that was during the hype of the news of Ezekiel Elliott on the field, off the field situation. And I was like, look, let's just go get this guy. He'll be a good 1-2 combination punch, but we didn't. But he's number 1 rusher right now. And I think 3rd place is like the kid that's down there. And what's this school? Played for Stanford, Carolina Panthers. That guy, forgot his name. Y'all put his name in the comment box. Ezekiel Elliott is 5th overall in rushing. He have 602 yards rushing. And this is the mid-season, so he's right on pace to having close to probably 1,300 yards, basically, give or take. But Ezekiel Elliott, this looks like a struggle for him to get those yards. To me personally, I think that the reason why Ezekiel Elliott numbers are not up there with the Dalvin Cooks of the world and also the other guy that I can't think of his name, Leonard Fournette, and the other guy, what's his name? Man, it's at the tip of my tongue. McCaffrey, I think. Let me know if I'm right. McCaffrey. It's because he set out all off season. And trust me, football is a physical sport. You have to be in shape. You have to be ready. And I just don't think that Ezekiel Elliott was ready for week 1, week 2, week 3, or what have you. So he's playing himself into shape, and he still don't have the burst like I want to see him, but he's improving week to week. So shout out to Ezekiel Elliott. He's 5th overall in rushing. And we know that stats are allegory. They only tell you half of the story, but they're necessary. They can show you tendencies and trends. They can give you an insight of where the team is going or where the team is heading, what type of production they're doing, what type of focal point the team is collectively. That's why we do stats. That's why we look at stats, right? Wide receiver play. Michael Thomas is number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. He still has 763 yards. And he is a beast. Number 13, he's playing like he's earned every bit of that $20 million a year that they're going to pay him. So shout out to Michael Thomas, but third on that list, and he's been hobbled all year, and this is not me making excuses. This is Amari Cooper, third on his list, 621 yards, I believe. I can only imagine if he was healthy and he played every game from A to Z. Boy, those numbers will be even crazier. But, shout out to Michael Thomas for being number 1 on that list. Here's this thing out of these notes that I'm looking at right quick. And this is going to be in relations to the NFC. We are pretty much in the middle of the pack out of the top tier teams, regardless of what they were last year, regardless of what they were many of years ago and beyond, and who they played. We are in the middle. And here's what I look up. The 49ers, I call them the 40-winers. Shout out to all of the 40-winers fans out there. Thank you guys for tuning in if you do tune into this thing. They 6-0. They undefeated. They on top of everybody's list, right? People said that they are not playing anyone, and they skating by because they just don't have to play anybody. They winning games, but they can't control their schedule. They can only play who they play. So they're 6-0 right now, regardless of how we look at it. We just got to respect that. And on top of that, that excuse got to be thrown out the window, because the Patriots, they never play anybody, right? And every year they get a free pass to go to the playoff. But the reality is that the 49ers are 6-0. That's a playoff first right there. That's the seed that you can get. Not saying if you were to go in the playoff as of tomorrow or next week or what have you. Saints, next on the list. That's the team that everybody got to be really mindful of. They gave us a run for their money, but this is the thing. The defense seems like they're growing stronger and stronger. So the Saints, they're 6-1. Then nobody just needs that. Of course, my Cowboys, our Cowboys, we only lost to the Saints by 2 points. And with the help of the officials, the officials always had to have their hand into the mix, But we went to New Orleans and they beat us by 2 points. I'm thinking that if it was on probably a mutual field, we may can give them a run for their money. Just the real deal. But we got to be really focused and play against that team. They got hungry guys on their front four. And then if you look at their secondary, who used to be scary, all of a sudden they're flying out to the ball, they creating fumbles, takeaways. And I think that leadership is coming from the linebacker play. The guy that they picked up during the offseason helped me out with his name. But, he's helping their team out, flying out to the ball, being the leader of the emotional leader of their team and things like that. His name is at the tip of my tongue, right? Man, I just need I need my coffee. That's what it is. But you guys can put his name in the comment box. Green Bay, they're 6-1. This is the thing. And we're only going to talk about the NFC. I'm not even going to talk about the AFC. We only focus on the NFC. Green Bay 6-1, which is cool. Although they jumped up on my Cowboys, our Cowboys, we got to look at it from these parameters. The help of the officials. I know it's going to sound like I'm giving everybody excuses and things like that, but no. They got a dynamic quarterback and they got good defense. There's always a good recipe for a team like that to go deep into the playoff. And then they are playing this good without their number one threat, which is Devontae Adams. I hope I said that man's name right, number 17. So it can be one of those scenarios where he can start coming along towards the latter part of the season and we can find ourselves in trouble, you see. But as long as we can play those Green Bay Packers, not in Arlington Stadium, Texas Stadium, however you want to call it, we have a chance. and the officials. Then there are the Seattle Seahawks with a 5-2 records and the Vikings. Seattle Seahawks is always a team that you have to be mindful of towards the latter part of the season because they can strike fire. They got a good seasonal head coach who knows how to get their team prepared. And on top of that, they can play in cold weather. So cold weather teams, outdoors teams, they always give a good fighting chance towards the latter part of the season, on the second half of the season, what have you. because by the end of this bye week, we'll be entering into the second half of the season, if you know what I mean. So you got the Seattle Seahawks, you got the Vikings, they're 5-2, who I can say they are playing inspired. They are playing like, hey, we started off slow, now we getting this fire going. Kirk Cousins believing in himself. He's figuring out ways now, although Adam Thielen is hurt now, he's still figuring out how to utilize those weapons he got. Rudolph, he got Diggs, and he got the other kid that I really wanted in the draft. Oh my goodness. Irv Smith Jr., he got that kid too. I saw him. He's able to catch the ball. And of course, they got a running threat. #1 running back in the NFL. And they got a 1-2 combination. He got the other running back that I was high on from Boise. Alexander Madison, I believe that's his name. My goodness. So they're explosive. And then we're not even going to talk about their defense. Zim always get that defense going. So in reality of everything, the Vikings, believe it or not, they may be that team on the second half of the season, really spark up and show the world who they really are. All right, teams is on the rise. The Panthers, the Rams. Although the Rams, they're 4-3, same record as my Cowboys, our Cowboys. They can hit that spark because they went and picked up a guy named Jalen Ramsey. And then on top of that, it could be one of those teams where the coaching can say, okay, we didn't play none at all during the preseason. And we were just trying to get our understanding of what we do out there as it relates to the offense going. And then on top of that, the defense, you got Aaron Donald. And then you fool around and got a Jalen Ramsey. So you can't sleep on the Rams. I would love to see how they're going to formulate things and get things going in the right direction as it relates to their team, on the second half of the season. Panthers, they played inspired too. They motivated. They're looking at it like, hey, they counted us out. We went and got us a fresh young quarterback who we can trust and lean on, and we can correct those mistakes. They got Christian McCaffrey. That was his name from earlier. He is running the rock like no other. And then they just got a good veteran savvy tight end as well. So it's crazy. You just got to watch out for them. Sleepers, believe it or not, sleepers. So we're in the middle of this groupings. We're 4-3. We're in the middle. We're in between Green Bay and the Saints and the Seattle Seahawks and the Vikings. We're somewhere in between. So it's up to us how we're going to come out the gates swinging after this bye. We need a healthy start. We need to be able to have no excuses to fly out to the ball, and we need to be on the same page because we're going to play the meat end of our schedule, meaning that we got to play some good teams on the back end of it, right? We do. We got to play Chicago in Chicago, I think, and then also we got to play the Patriots. Those are two tough games. And then we got to play our divisional foes again. That goes into a lot of planning and details and stuff like that. I know you guys are tired of me rambling, but I'm going to try to close this out. Chicago. Do not sleep on Chicago. Remember, football becomes football when it get cold outside. Although their quarterback is suspect, I understand. But you got to look at the total picture when it get cold. Khalil Mack and those boys at defense, Raquan Smith and all of those boys, when they get cold, trust me, teams figure out ways to when they hit you, it feels harder, it stings, and it lasts a little harder on you. The balls become heavier. It's harder to catch the ball, so your team got to be more proficient. And also, they have to execute, right? So when it get colder, it makes it difficult for all of those processes to go through. A team that's on the rise that you have to look out for, the Cardinals. The Cardinals are a team, they on a 3-game winning spree, and they got a rookie head coach. And I know we don't play the Cardinals, but you got to be mindful of them. And I'm thinking I'm leaving out the Detroit, although their record is not stating how they are playing. They are a grittish, grimish team. So those are the sleepers, the Detroit, the Cardinals. And Chicago, maybe you can slide them in, and we can't leave out the Eagles. Although it seems like hell and brimstone and everything seems trashy with the Eagles, but They only a game behind us, I believe, right? Or 2 games or 1 game, something like that. So you just never know how things can catch on fire towards the back end of the season. And that's where you want to catch fire at, believe it or not. You want to catch fire towards the latter part of the season. You don't want to be the team that started off. Remember, I said this before, I believe. I think it was the Detroit Lions. They started off 5-0 or 6-0, and then you looked up and you looked around and you turned around and you said, man, this team is not even going to the playoff. I think they ended that season like 6-10 or something like that. So I always talk to everybody that's here and said, hey man, I'm tired of us saying finish the fight, finish the fight. But now it's starting to say, and now I got to say this, you got to start to finish the fight. Believe it or not, we got to figure out ways to finish the fight towards the latter part. But I always wanted to believe you always start the fight. You punch them in the mouth, you leave them with the raggedy tooth, and you sit back and say, yeah, now I can finish you off. So we'll see how the second half of the season pan out and everything goes from there. Let me know of your thoughts. Let me know how you guys feel about the stats, which we only use the stats of saying, okay, this is a parameter. This is where we at. This is where we're leaning towards as far as the offense. I didn't even pull up the defensive side because it would make this thing way too long. And I know half of you guys are not even watching to this point. But what I'm saying is that we have to figure out a way. We do. Stay poised on this offense. I do know that you win championships through defense. But in the meantime, in the between time, this defense, I feel that the defense is going to turn the corner. And they did it. They did it last week, or they did it the other day, basically. Let me know of your thoughts. Post them down below. Let me know how you guys feel about everything. And, hey, what are you guys going to do during the bye week? We're going to sit back and watch teams play, and let me know who out of this list that you're going to be rooting against so that they can lose and make everything pushes up for us and favoring for us. Let me know. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Salute. I'm out. Peace. Let's go. Let's go.